Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest speaker, Nitish, who is a very outstanding software engineer, also working at Akuity and also an Argo CD Maintainer. Nitish, would you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, my name is Nitish. I work at a QDS software engineer, as Emily told, and I'm really excited to be the part of Emily's podcast.
Awesome, thanks Nitish for showing up. Nitish does not know what he's getting into because I revealed about nothing of my questions list, so he's just as surprised as you are. Before we get into my very spicy discussion topics, would you want to introduce yourself a little bit, like your background, your role, especially because I think your role is non-traditional, like you don't just write the code and ship the product.
My my role generally revolves around contributing to Argo CD project as a part of my job. Back during my university days, I used to contribute to a bunch of open source projects as well. For example, I was a part of Kubernetes release team for version 1.32. Then I also did my LFX mentorship with Kubernetes project back then, in like 2 years ago. And after that, I got the job at Akuity, where my most of my work is revolving around contributing to the Argo CD project. So, as a part of my job, I contribute to the Argo CD project, advocate for it as well, especially to people contribute to the project. I'm also a CNCF ambassador like Emily, and I also run a YouTube channel. So, yeah, a few things that I generally do on a daily basis.
How do you fit into the org then, considering that a lot of your work is in the open source side?
Uh, Good question. So what happens is, since at Acuity we are the creators of Argo CD project, we have been contributing and maintaining Argo CD project for a while now. I mean, it from the beginning as the project started. People see what sort of contributions you do to the project, and that sort of contribution gives credibility to you as well as to the organization that you're coming from. So for example, if let's say someone from your team built a feature, obviously you will get a credit for the feature that you have built for the project, so people can use. But it also gives credibility to the organization that has given you this chance to contribute to the project. So, so I would say I contribute to the Argo CD project, but as a part of my job, I also sometimes contribute to the Cargo project. That is an open source project.
Are you only on the open source side or do you touch the enterprise side at all?
I'm only on the open source side. I don't generally touch the enterprise side, but for the cargo, I sometimes contribute to if maintainers assign me an issue.
I think this is a really good example of how even being almost 100% open source contribution can still land you a very, very nice job. So it's like you're getting paid employment, but also doing things that you enjoy and you love.
So it makes me remind of something. One of the engineers at GitLab mentioned to me when I was contributing to a small open source project during my university days, and I asked him if they can hire me because I'm contributing to their project, their open source project, and they're like, we don't have rules often, but he gave me a very good advice back then, which was that if you contribute to open source projects with an intention of getting hired at by the companies who are maintaining that project, oftentimes you will be disappointed. So if you enjoy contributing to the open source project and love doing it and learning something new, do it, but don't do it with an intentions of getting hired by the companies.
I think that's great advice because what you're doing should be what you love at the moment.
Do that.
Then how did you get started on Argo? Because you were contributing to other projects, and then did you start here and then start working on Argo, or was it the other way around?
So fun fact was that I always know about the Argo CD project existed during my university days, but I never touched it. I was like,
How
why
do you
should I
know
learn
Argo
it?
GU University? Because you did computer science.
Oh yeah, I did computer science, but in our university course, DevOps was taught like probably like by third year, and I was
You
already
get
out of the
taught
college.
DevOps?
It's like
That's
basic Git
crazy.
stuff, like Git and GitHub. That's all they teach
Oh, okay.
in the name of DevOps. Um, but uh, but so I knew this project existed, but once I got to work at Akuity, then I just started learning about Argo CD project. What is the problem it's trying to solve? I had zero experience with the project back before. I knew this project existed, but never tried to play with the project. It all started when I got this job here, learned about the project, talked with other people, watched some courses, played with the project, read the code, and that's how I got started.
That's awesome, and you're now a maintainer. How does it feel being a maintainer?
It doesn't change anything. I feel like it's just a title and it adds more responsibility to you. Now, people come with more expectations. Hey, you might be knowing this answer to the question. Like, sometimes I don't.
How did you get discovered by Acuity then if you weren't an Argo contributor?
I didn't know you have prepared such interesting questions. But uh, so, fun fact. Um, I was looking for a job. So I was looking for an internship, and someday, out of nowhere, our head of engineering reached out to me and asking if I'm looking for some sort of roles, and probably schedule a call, and we'll look forward to. Scheduled a call, and I had zero expectation that I'll be ever be clearing this interview. But then that round got well, and then I had another round with the CTO, and then I had some more round, and I had zero expectation that I would clear all the rounds. And then finally, they were like, "We think you're a good fit for this role, so let's get started." But fun part. Now I have to go to my college to convince them that I'm joining this organization.
Why did you have to convince your college? Because you already did an
So
internship, right? So you like that fulfilled your graduation requirements or whatever?
no, so I was so engineering in India is of like 4 years. Every year you have like 2 semesters. And most colleges have this sort of rule that you can only start working for an as an intern somewhere from sixth semester or seventh semester onwards. So even though I was working in my fifth semester for a company, I was working alongside my graduation, alongside my degree.
Okay, so basically your first internship didn't really count towards your graduation degree because it was too early and you were just doing two
Very
things at
true.
the same time. It's very nice. But do you feel imposter syndrome though? Because you are very young.
I just gave a demo about a feature that I was working on building in Argo CD yesterday. And after I gave the demo, everyone started asking me questions. They were using this so many heavy terms. I had to go through the recordings again and understand what they were talking about. And then it finally made sense to me. And it always, like, whenever I join meetings or interact with people, even at conferences, there's always this sort of imposter syndrome. And when you talk to senior engineers, and I think it's very normal, especially when you're coming this young into the organization. But I think for me, the solution is to just listen to them and read as much as I can. But yeah, imposter syndrome is always there.
Yeah. How did you handle those questions on the spot then if you didn't understand them right away?
So always ask them to repeat the questions. Like if you can understand the question clearly. So I have come to this realization most of the time that if you understand the question well, it won't take much time to figure out. Um, but since if the person is right next to you, it's okay if you don't know the answer to that question, but point them to a right direction, or maybe point them to someone whom you know can answer that question way better than it.
I guess you would also have to admit on the spot that here's what I think, but we will
Yeah.
get
So
there. Would you recommend a role similar to yours to others though?
um no, and here is why. um a lot of people would really want sort of a role where you get to contribute to the open source, you're getting paid to contribute to the open source projects. um, but as a junior engineer or someone starting out, I feel like if you're at this role, what you need at this stage of your career is writing more code if you're a passionate software developer, and also getting guidance from your own team members or from other software engineers. Now, when you're working in the open source, what happens is you can connect with a lot of other engineers from the different organization. But let's say you come across certain error or etc. You want some mentorship. It's difficult to set a meeting with them or get some sort of mentorship with them because now they are part of different organization. The point that I'm trying to say is you have to figure out a lot of things on your own. And let's say you were working on some enterprise sites or probably working on some product of your own company which is open source. Now you're working with the close team members, 3 to 4, and you know that if I get across certain error, I need to have a meeting set up. I need to message this person. With open source, it doesn't happen that way. So, but I'm pretty sure a lot of different organizations have different structures on keeping these roles balanced. But um, for someone starting out, if you're getting an opportunity to contribute an open source project and getting paid for it, definitely take that up. But remember that it's always the thing that you will have to figure out a lot of things by your own, especially when less people from your company are when more people from your company are involved on the enterprise side and not on the open source side.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's well, there's a balance or trade-off between how much open source contribution you get to do versus how much mentorship you get from other people at the organization.
True.
That's a
And I
great
would
point.
definitely take this role if I had a 9 to 10 years experience, or probably when I'm in my 30s. Yeah.
That's cool. One last question before we get to even spicier rapid fire is that,
Oh,
first of all, congrats on getting accepted for ArgoCon EU.
thank you.
You seem to speak a lot at conferences and meetups. So is that like an explicit part of your job, or is it something that you like to do on the side and Akuity just lets you do it? And how did you do it so that your acceptance rate is so high?
I don't think so. My acceptance rate is very high. But first, answering your question, that's not a part of my job. Uh, I mean, you can say it can be a part of my job. It cannot be. My part of my job is contributing to open source, and submitting the CFPs is something that I enjoy doing it, or probably sharing stuff with the people. Um, Now coming to the question on how the CFP acceptance, I, so I think it depends on the way you have written your abstract. So I always follow this approach where um, you can write your abstract in 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph is generally highlighting the problem statement. Second paragraph is highlighting how your talk is addressing that problem. And third paragraph is simply the closing abstract that can be something interesting for audience to read. That's how I generally prefer writing the abstracts. But a lot of time my CFPs have got rejected, and I think some putting those CFPs in some other conferences can give you higher chances. But I think it sometimes is a matter of luck.
Yeah. All right, time for rapid fire questions.
I'm pretty. I'm going to. I feel like Emily is going to take the revenge now.
No, last time you weren't too hard on me, so um,
I hope you
this
have
is gonna
not
be
added a
more
question
fun.
where I have to choose between a team member. Come on.
No, no,
Good,
there's none
good,
of
good.
that. So, starting off light, VS Code or JetBrains?
JetBrains every single day.
Great. Dark mode or light mode?
Dark mode. I was just going through my GitHub today and go to the personalization setting out of nowhere. I changed my GitHub to light version and I felt like, oh my god, who uses this? Like I felt so bad.
Hurts your eyes.
Yeah, really.
Because light attracts bugs. Ooh.
For me, the dark attracts bugs too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not original. I just thought it was stupidly funny. Toughest part of your job?
Uh, Writing code.
Writing code or debugging?
Or no, finding issues to work on.
Why is
Because I'll
that?
tell you. So There are, if you go to the Argo CD project, 3.8, 3.4K issues are open right now.
Mm.
You don't, so it becomes difficult to understand which issue should you pick up. Let's say you want to pick a feature request too. First of all, you have to bring that up in the meeting and see if we can support this or not. So trying to figure out what you want to work is, I think, is the difficult part. The second most difficult part will be writing code for that issue or fixing that issue.
Fixing that issue, and the third most difficult part would be debugging.
Yeah, it's a very um, it's a painful debugging process for Argo CD. I love how the debugging process for Cargo is. That's why I love contributing to it.